Good evening. Welcome back. I know it's been like 2 years, but that's not important. What's important is that we're about to make some cutting boards today. And I know it's been 2 years, so I'm not going to waste no more of your time. Let's get right into it. All right, so this is the lumber we're working with today. I got some exotics and some hardwoods. I got some walnut, some alder, African mahogany, padauk, and some purple heart. So use whatever lumber you want. Don't matter. Don't use whatever lumber you want. Actually, don't take that advice. All right, so I got my boards right here. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut them down into smaller portions because I gotta join them and I gotta plane them. So if you know anything about woodworking, trying to joint and plane boards this long, you're gonna lose a lot of material on it. So if you cut them into smaller pieces, you're gonna end up taking off less material. So as you see, like this one right here, you can see my boards are bowed a lot. So in order to get that flat, I have to run the whole thing across the planer. And basically, I'm losing a lot of material from here to try to get that flat. So if you cut it into smaller pieces, you take off less material, save money. I'm gonna cut these boards down to length. These don't have to be super accurate. I'm gonna leave them a little bit longer so that way when I plane, I don't have to worry about the planer snipe. I'm just gonna end up cutting it off. If you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. So yeah, first things first though, want to make sure you protect those eyes and ears. So we're here at the joiner. If you're not familiar with this tool, spinning blade right here. Run your board through. You get perfectly flat edges, perfectly 90-degree angles on all your boards, so everything's going to be square. It's going to make sure everything glues up nice and even. Not going to have any crooked measurements or crooked lines on our final boards. So let's just run these through really quick and then we'll get to the next step. Okay, next day, I finished milling everything up. Now I'm gonna cut them on the table saw. I'm gonna cut them to about the rough dimensions that I need, and then I'm gonna fine tune them over at the planer after that. So let's get to cutting. Okay, so I got all my pieces. What I'm thinking, I'm just gonna do some random offsets because they're gonna be in grain. So uh, you'll see that part later. But basically, I got all these right here. So I'm gonna glue them up into panels. I'm gonna mix and match my pieces. I don't want them to go over 12 inches because my planer, 12 and a half max, because my planer is a 12-inch planer. So I got, I'm like right under 60 inches right here. So 59 and a half. So I can do 5 panels. I should be able to get at least 6 cutting boards out of this, maybe more. Depends on how thick I want to make them. So yeah, I'm gonna just mix and match these parts and just do some designs. So let's do that. Okay, I got my patterns set up, 5 different panels. Now all we got to do is glue these up. So, okay, I got my panels taken out of the clamps. Everything is dried. I didn't end up coming out here and scraping the glue off, but that's fine. The planer will take care of that. So let's run them through the planer so we can surface these and then we'll move on to the next step. So let's get the planer out. All right, so you see I just threw that through the planer a few times. You can see the difference now. So this is my completely smooth surface right here. as opposed to before with all the rough glue squeeze out and all that. So now we do that to both sides, and I'm gonna do that for all my panels, and then we'll cut it again into our sections to turn it into the offset design for the end grain. Okay, all my boards are surfaced right now, clean, flat. We're gonna take these over to the crosscut sled and get to the next part, so we can start setting them up for the end grain cutting boards. All right, so this is the panel cut into its pieces. So this is how the panel was set up before. Then we cut the pieces. So what we're gonna do to get an end grain board is we're gonna flip them on their ends. So now this is end grain right here. So what we're gonna do is stand everything up. And then every other piece, we're gonna flip the other way. So okay, so I got my designs finished right here. Next step is we're gonna glue it up again, another glue up. So you already seen the first glue up. I don't need to show you again. The only thing different with this glue up is you want to keep your boards as straight as possible. So use like some kind of straight edge. I'll probably just use something like this, but when you glue them up, use that straight edge to keep your design as consistent as possible. So that way you have less waste and your pattern doesn't look crooked when you finish. So that's the only thing different about this glue up. So I'll see you when the glue is dry. Okay, next day. Glue is dry. This one is almost done. We just need to get to the finishing process. So you can see this time I did clean up the glue squeeze out, so it's going to be easier for me to finish this. Um, yeah, so let's get it finished. All right, so I'm about to surface this, and I know this part is going to piss a lot of woodworkers off, or cutting board makers. This is going to piss them off. So I'm going to send my end grain boards through my planer, which I've made about like 30 end grain boards in my life. And I've sent them all to the planer. I know everybody says you're not supposed to put end grain through the planer, but uh, I've had one fail, and that was because I tried to cut off way too much at once. I was still new. So, yeah, I'm going to put this through the planer. I got this little sled right here, just so if I have to shim it up, I don't have to shim these because they're already pretty flat. I glued them up really good, so I'm not getting any movement. But basically, I put this piece on the glue up. This is just a regular, it's edge grain or long grain, whatever you want to call it. So that way I don't blow out my last piece on the end grain. It's not going to ruin it. So then I can plane it, and then I just cut off this strip to finish the board. But yeah, with that being said, uh, if you're going to make end grain cutting boards and you decide you want to go to the planer, I say do it at your own risk. Um, I've only failed one time, user error, but yeah, I'm going to send it to the planer. So alrighty, board is surfaced. See the edge grain piece right here at the end helped me from the grain blowing out, but you can see surfaced, smooth, perfect. And another thing, I have never changed the blades on that. Those are not fresh blades, same blades from 3, 4 years ago, whatever. The key is to take super light passes, but as you see, my end grain board just went through the planer without any problem. So okay, so got my boards cleaned up. all the edges are square, smoothed over. Next step, we're gonna add our profiles. So this is a router I'm gonna do. So this is the bottom of my board. I'm gonna do a 45 degree chamfer on the bottom. So that's gonna make it look a little better. So it's not just square and just regular. And it's also gonna give you a little bit of uh, finger room to lift the board up when it's on the counter after you've used it or whatever. So this is my chamfer bit right here. You can see it's just going to put that profile on the edges. So okay, so got the chamfer on both of those. I think you can kind of see it in the background. You can kind of see on this one too, but it's going to give you a little bit of finger room underneath to grab your board off the counter. Now we're going to do a round over on the top. So same idea. This is a round over. It's going to be just rounded over basically. So I'm going to do this in 2 separate passes because I don't want to cut off too much material at once. Keep my board from getting burn marks and keep my board from chipping out. So all right, so now sanded your boards, put your finishing edges, all that good stuff. Now we let the board sit for roughly 3 months in the shop, and then you can move on to your next step, which is going to be finishing. So I got this, make this myself, just mineral oil and beeswax. It's a simple mixture. Um, all we're gonna do is put a big ass glob on these boards, and then we're just gonna wipe it in, let the moisture absorb, the mineral oil absorb, and then the wax will give it a sealing coat and protect it. Um, I suggest you use any kind of tack-free cloth, nothing with fibers that are going to end up in the board finish. I don't have any towels or anything tack-free, so I'm just going to wipe it in with my gloves. And I'll probably use some Chipotle napkins to wipe the excess off after I let it absorb. So yeah, just very simple. Just throw some wax on there. Rub that bad boy in. You can also heat this if you want to make it easier, which is probably what I should have did, but it's all right. I don't usually make good choices.